Being that I'm here right now, I'ma go and get it right now, get committed right now. I'ma do some shit that's gonna uplift a bunch of people's spirit right now, help them heal it right now. I'ma get them riches right now. Work plan, manifest, be speak that shit into existence right now. Can't slow down, got the vision wrote down, cause I seen it, man, I'm on right now. Focusing the motherfuckers where I'm in the zone right now. Ain't no later, dog, it's only right now.
And it's only right now.
It creates.
Right now.
No past, no future right now. All I got is right now. No past, no future right now. All I got is right now. Fuck what they did to me, gon' do, cause all I get is right now. Fuck what they did to me, gon' do, cause all I get is right now. So I focus on that when I can focus on now. Pull up at a beach on the outskirts of town. Enjoy the view and give thanks to the truth. And I go hit the yo just to shut that bitch down.
And I'm high right now. So alive right now. Clear skies right now. Living my life by my own rules. I feel what I choose.
Straight and narrow, but it's just straight narrow. Yonder music. Do it now. Gonna take some words, okay? And I'm right back at it. Divine alignment, fully automatic. I don't think about it. I just watch it happen. I just move toward it and I get supported. When I try to force it, it just get distorted. So I dance with it. Crystals all in my pants with it. Healing all in my hands with it. I'm an alchemist. I'm a master. I'm a rabbi. I'm a sensei. I'm a bad guy. I'm an alien. I'm an animal. I'm a cannibal. I'm so handsome, no. Yo.
And I'm high right now. Can barely open my eyes right now.
And that money we making it. Climbing these ladders and laying foundation, that's masonry. This shit is different, cause my dreams are literally chasing me. Grateful for where life is taking me. I'm living life, that's to say the least. Only true beauty can tame the beast. Only true love can tame that beast.
Are you here with me right now? Right now. Vibe with me. Vibe with me right now. Right now, yeah.
There it goes. Something you did.
All right. Can you hear us now?
Huh? I don't know, but the line is moving now.
It is moving.
Yeah.
Pulsating even.
Yes, yes, yes. Let's do a mic check one time. Yeah. Mic check. Something you did. There it goes, man. the most beautiful thing about that is you catch it in the very beginning. We don't go an hour and 5 minutes, and we're just talking and talking. Then you get the random comments. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Yeah.
So that's good. Only thing I said was, welcome back to On the Bench Podcast. We're available on all podcast streaming platforms. You didn't miss much there.
Yeah.
All right. And like I said, man, we have a really good show for you guys today. Let's go back to the topic screen, and the mic is still working. What a beautiful thing. And like I said, we have Coach Baruti, a life and relationship coach. I think he only goes by life coach, right? I tag on relationship coach in there because he's just a masterful in that area there. So I just tag on that. But he's a life coach, and he's going to come over here. We got a lot of topics to hit with him, along with a lot of the trending topics that's going on in sports, music, and entertainment, as always, because we're home of sports, music, and mayhem. All righty, those are some of the topics you guys can see on the screen there. But, just a quick thing to note here, before we really start the show here, man, is I tackled in my brain what I wanted to open with.
Yeah. Did you miss the tackle?
I didn't. Yeah, because I didn't. I wanted to start on like my life dream as a young guy growing up. I wanted to become a GM, and I want to talk about how all the bad GMs are doing now and why I can't get the job. But we're not going to talk about that. I'll save that for next week.
I didn't know that was your lifelong dream.
Yeah, man, along with being a truck driver. And
really?
Yeah.
Do you have an affinity for hemorrhoids?
No.
Okay.
But the ladies that you pick up as a truck driver, But
road sluts? That's where we're going?
That's not where we're going. Where we're going.
You really want to bang some toothless hooker at a truck stop?
Where we're going is we're going to Orlando, Florida for the Classic.
Let me just say this. We have different tastes.
The Florida Classic is this Saturday, Bethune-Cookman versus FAMU.
Yes.
Of course, I am a Bethune-Cookman alumni there. And, it's a really big rivalry. If you follow any Bethune-Cookman or FAMU guys, you can see the nasty memes that are going around making fun of each other's school. Deep down, we know it's all love. Nobody else can say those jokes, but we can. You know what I mean? So that's just how that goes. FAMU has a really good football team this year, and we do not. So and the years we whooped FAMU like 11 years in a row. A part of the time that I was in school. So that's of course those are my greatest memories. And
it's a bad run.
Yeah, but FAMU
11 years.
Well, it's weird how this matchup goes because FAMU had a stint where they won like 19 in a row. So it's like a team will go, they'll get on a run, right? So we're coming off of our run, and FAMU beat us last year, and they have like one of the best schools in the conference. They're right behind JSU. I think they only lost like 2 games or so this year. FAMU,
including one to JSU.
Right. So I mean, but they have a really good team, and they're going to win, right? But there are a few areas where they cannot win. All right, we have the best band in the world. All right,
really?
We severely outplayed JSU's band. I didn't even know JSU had a band until that halftime show, and we're going to continue to dominate in that area come this Saturday.
On the marching 100?
Oh yes, man. They there's nothing they can do with the Wildcats and the band when they come on the field. They have all of these things that they do, and of course the songs that they play, but also. That's what a lot of the people come to the game for.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, they're going to come for the halftime. They're going to come to watch the bands, and they're going to come watch that great performance and whoever they bring also at the halftime. Okay, that's one area we're going to win. So now it's tied. FAMU's going to win the game. We're going to win the halftime show. So how can Bethune come out on top? I'm going to tell you. All right, we're going to have the more beautiful women out there. They're going to have more people, right? Because FAMU is a slightly bigger school. And they do travel well, and I'm sure they're going to travel really well this time because their team is actually good. They're a fair weather school. When their football team is doing well, they're going to travel. They're not doing so well, they're not going to see. I'm driving down the road these last few weeks. I'm seeing all type of FAMU tags and flags and everything. You just don't see that until they're doing good.
Oh, for sure.
That's the type of team they are. Bethune, I've had my tag since day one. We're still bad. My tag is still on. I'm not going to go to the DMV, go through the changes to get a regular tag just because my team is not doing well. That's what FAMU people do, okay? And, and so that's how we're going to come out on top this weekend with the women and with the halftime show.
Just not the football.
Just not the football.
All right.
Yeah, not this year.
All right.
But
But what about you coming out on top? It's what you do with these women. Just walking around looking at them, that's not a win.
I'll tell you a quick story, man.
All right.
One of the things that, as the guys, that we wanted to do at Bethune was we always wanted to get to a FAMU homecoming. FAMU has one of the best homecomings out of all HBCUs.
Did you ever make it?
We made it to one, right? But we didn't get to go to any homecoming festivities. We went to a pool party, and
I like the direction there.
Yeah, and I had my first ever one night stand.
Really?
To this day, I've never had another one.
Really?
Yeah, from FAMU, a girl at FAMU. Now, note, I never had a one-night stand at Bethune. I'm not saying that all the girls that went to FAMU are easy enough to get a one-night stand. That's not what I'm alluding to.
What do we say by a one-night stand? You meet a person that day. And before the next day starts, you smash them. And you never smash them again.
I never saw her again. Now, I never saw her again.
But you're if she's out down here this weekend, your one night stand can be nullified.
I'm gonna tell you this was a long time ago. We were in school, so
hopefully
I'm thinking
she's still alive.
2008, 2009, right?
Was she older than you?
No. It's she was in school. I was in school, so it's whatever, a year or two apart.
Grad school, maybe.
So, like I said, this is around whatever 08, 09, something like that. And
what a time to be alive.
So I think it's maybe last year or the year before, I came across her page on Facebook.
Really?
Now, these type of encounters, you really don't remember people. But I never forgot her. Okay? She had a particular skill that was just phenomenal. Okay? And
has to be head, right?
Of course. So I DM'd her out the blue. Yeah. I just said, hey, you remember me? And
that was your opening line?
That was my opening line. And because she was like, I went on her Facebook page. She's selling like whatever, insurance at the time, whatever. And
where was she located? Like local?
No. She's still up there or whatever. And I'm making a move because my family is in Tallahassee, so I'm going to July 4th thing. And
might as well put in some groundwork. Yeah,
you got to do groundwork a little early.
Get the scouts out there.
Yeah, man. See what's going on.
Little reconnaissance.
And so I do that. I hit her, and she's like, "Yeah, of course." And Jerome, and she knows my whole name.
Wow.
And I was like, "Wow." So maybe
you're a little smaller than I was hoping for. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's either she had a really great experience or so bad experience that she remembers. So we'll hope for the latter. Great. But yeah, so that's FAMU versus Bethune-Cookman. If you guys are in the Orlando area, you definitely want to check it out. They have tons of vendors. A lot of black businesses are going to be out there. They're going to be selling merchandise. They're going to be selling great food. All of that great stuff right down there.
So what's the move for you though? Like, do you kind of like get out and do a little legwork before this weekend starts?
No.
You sure about this?
I get out and I like to support the businesses. That's my thing. I don't go to the game anymore.
When I'm talking about with the ladies.
I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. So I go out and I support the businesses and have a little fun. I don't even go out anymore. At nighttime or whatever. But that's what I do.
Are you gonna hit the game itself?
Not gonna hit the game. I'm gonna go to the game. It's like
tailgate before.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Tailgate before and hang out afterwards, and around the stadium, and just hang out, man. Talk with the former HBCUs.
There you go,
people. There you go. So this Saturday, don't miss it. We're gonna take a quick music break and get our guy Coach Baruti on. You're on the bench. On the Bench Podcast. If you didn't catch it off top, we're available on all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, all of that great stuff. We'll be right back.
Here we go.
I don't like that. I don't like that. 5, 5, 6 bullets clean, knock your top back. Hell yeah, I ate that pussy good, she gave me top back. Why the fuck you eat it and wear a condom, bitch, I don't like that. Why I don't claim my son on my taxes, I don't like that. Nigga disrespect me on the ground, I'm a tight back. When I see your ass out in public, better fight back. Anything I put on be too fly, they don't like that. Anything I do and they like it, they gon' bite that. Cheeto got 20, do 10, why Why he fight that? Niggas out here loving on the song. Why you wife that? Boy, you smell good. What that is? Oh, you like that? Why you keep that 40 on your hip? Bitch, I'm like that. Why your bitch is red with sex appeal? Cause I like that. I see a lot of niggas taking drugs. What made you like that? I hate when bitches walk about the bathroom smelling like that. Niggas always asking what the hoes ain't fucking like that. Shawty got my legs shaking hard, sucking like that. I thought you was just good, but you great. Who taught you like that? She got me thinking crazy like her mama got it like that. Got me thinking crazy like her mama got it like that. When I get the joning, they be why you doing like that? When I get the smoking, they be how you roll it like that? Every time I pass it, I'm like why you hold it like that? Rim me to the face, you gon' drive the boat like that. Oh, you like that? Oh, you like that? Oh, you like that? Oh, you like that? Let me see. Hey, I like that. I like that. Oh, you like that?
Oh, you guys are back on the Bench Podcast with Bubba and Pink, and we have Coach Baruti in the building. What's going on, Coach?
What's going on, gentlemen?
How you doing here?
Man, I'm doing excellent, and excellent.
That's a lot of excellence.
Can you? So, just really quick for anybody who's like wondering or anything, what goes into being a life coach?
Okay, so when I first started, the way I would explain it, I think most people got it very, rather easily, is people pay me to tell them about themselves.
Kind of like a therapist, I guess.
Yeah. So my job basically is to hold up a mirror so you can see yourself the way you're not accustomed to seeing yourself, so then you can make the choices and decisions about how you want to move in terms of improving and growing into a better version of yourself.
What separates you from a therapist?
Well, what separates me from a therapist is I think that they got a blueprint that they all operate from. And I think it's the blueprint that they use just basically teach you how to fit into society. But what I do is I try to see who you are and get you to focus on being the best version of that.
Okay. All righty. Towards the end of the show, I want to do a speed run of that.
Okay.
With me and you on the show, you tell me about myself and my relationship.
Because the world needs a better version of us. The one that we have is just not getting it done in many levels.
Getting a lot of complaints here, Coach. Been getting some complaints lately. All right. Really quick here. We don't want to forget about our number one sponsor. And excuse us here, Coach. This is a sponsor here, Overkink.com. Don't forget, guys, Overkink.com. Use promo code bubbapink. And you can get all, and I do mean all, of your bedroom needs, whatever it is that you're into, whatever that you need, from lingerie to toys to condoms to what have you.
You love those condoms, don't you?
They have them. And then why pay full
So does the 7-Eleven.
price? That is the thing. Why pay full price for something that you need? All right? And Pink may have the item of the week.
The item of the week. This is interesting. It's the Velvor J-Boa C-Ring Adjustable. That's a pretty formidable name, but what it is, it's essentially looks like a piece of rope with a little linchpin around it that you put on your cock and tighten it up to, I guess, stay hard longer.
I don't know. They have this honey pack thing now, so I don't know if I'll be using that. But if that's it's wait, what is the price on this thing? If you're paying full price, it's $28.31. With the Bubba Pink discount, it's less. Yes. So yeah.
But look at this thing; it looks pretty bizarre.
It does. And on the edited version, we'll show you guys a picture there. But
yeah,
if you know, if that's what you're into and you don't want to use the honey pack, you can definitely use that, and you use promo code Bubba Pink for your discount. All right. What I wanted to get into is there's a couple trending stories here that are going on. And what we'll do first is we'll hit the Mexico. I think with the girl passing away, dying in Mexico on vacation, it's one of those things where, because we always hear groups of friends go out on these vacations to Puerto Rico, Mexico. Like every weekend, there's a group of girls, a group of guys on my social media that's going to Puerto Rico, Mexico, Jamaica, something like that on a quick weekend or week vacation. It's almost, routine here. So let me play this quick news clip here. And let's see, where are you at here?
A mystery in Mexico. How did a weekend with friends turn into a nightmare?
Something is not adding up right here.
Bernard and Salamandra Robinson say their daughter, 25-year-old Shanquella Robinson, traveled with friends from Charlotte to Cabo, Mexico on October the 28th.
I spoke with her Friday evening. She was having dinner. And I never spoke with her again.
The next day, their world changed.
On Saturday evening, they called and said she wasn't feeling well, and they was gonna call a doctor. But when they called, the doctor hadn't arrived yet, but they said she had alcohol poisoning.
They say they were told their daughter died from alcohol poisoning, but they don't believe that. They say they've heard different stories, and none of them add up.
We received the autopsy report on Thursday, and it said that her neck had been broke, and she had a spinal cord was cracked. So that took it to a whole nother level.
In a statement, the U.S. Department of State said, quote, "We are aware of these reports. Protecting the welfare of U.S. citizens overseas is among our top priorities. Out of respect for the privacy of those involved, we have no further comment at this time." Shanquella's body arrived back in Charlotte on Thursday.
She had a heart of gold. She didn't mistreat nobody.
I mean, I can't even be a grandfather. Can't even walk her down the aisle. She gone.
Just a crazy story there. There's a couple storylines, right? You have the friends that she was with.
Yeah, so I mean, listening to that story, I think that story to me seems very early in the process. Mm-hmm. I think what we know now is that she went there with a group of people, and at some point she was extremely intoxicated and was videoed getting beaten up in the room by presumably the group of friends. Mm-hmm. When you listen to that news piece, and I'm not disparaging it, maybe that's all the information they had, but that reads to me like a beware of traveling abroad, because somebody abroad might do you wrong, which is a legitimate danger. But what we're learning about this is that it was the people she came with. And I mean, this is just highly disturbing on a lot of levels. I have kids her age, and my kids like to travel. In fact, one of my kids travels nonstop. And the thing about that is, like, you introduce maybe drugs, maybe alcohol. You put yourself in vulnerable positions in not great situations, and maybe you're traveling with people you don't know and you shouldn't trust. And horrific things can happen. And I just. It's tragic, I got to say that. It's horrible for the parents, horrible obviously for her. But it's also like, what the heck is going on? Why did this situation unfold this way? Right. Particularly with people you went on this trip with. Like, I don't know. I mean, a lot of times people are weird, like, out of respect, we don't need to know all the details or whatever. My mindset is I want to know, like, what went wrong here? Like, what really happened? Make this make some kind of sense. And right now, we don't have enough information to answer that for me.
You're going to count on a lot of people. You're going to need people to tell the truth, and that's going to be really challenging to get out of folks who are not going to want to suffer the consequences that come with
the actions,
with the behavior.
Yeah. I mean, I again, one thing, a couple of things that I have my understanding of. She was basically like left in the place they were staying while the rest of the travel party like literally went home, like back to the States, which is like, what the hell's that about? And then a couple people I know have said they've seen the video or parts of the video, and it's horrific, and everybody who is a witness to that should suffer the full brunt of legal action.
Well, see, that's going to, because we're talking about crossing borders now.
Yeah, that's the other thing too.
The crime was committed in Mexico. Yeah. So, or the incident happened in Mexico, and then the folks who might be responsible for the incident are no longer in Mexico. Right. So now how that gets handled is going to be interesting.
It is, and we could be coming across another Brittany Griner type case. Because if it happened in Mexico, what if Mexico has the right to say, well, okay, if these people are responsible and if they did commit a crime, maybe
They should be extradited to Mexico to pay for that crime.
Yeah.
And then now you're getting into Mexico jailing system. I imagine it's not
different.
pleasant. Yeah,
It's different.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I imagine it's different.
Well, there's a lot of things like in Mexico. I mean, is the death penalty in play or not? It is in some states in the U.S. It may not be in play in Mexico. I don't know. And then, what is the condition of prison life if that's the direction that things go? And even what is the standard of proof in Mexico?
Exactly.
I don't know that. That could impact. You could have a much harder time convicting people in Mexico, and especially this where you have what appears to be a group of people acting in concert. Their laws versus our laws on tying everybody to the crime in conspiracy manner may be way easier to prove or way more difficult to prove.
Yeah.
And those are unknowns. I mean,
it is.
That's pretty wild.
Why is there a video? You can't help but look at these and just say, man, young people are just so dumb and ignorant. Because why? Whatever the case may be, if they're fighting for a reason, or as the video looks, it looks like they're kind of almost forcing her to fight, almost like a, you know what I mean? And it's like, why videotape this? And then when something bad happens like that, and somebody does lose their life, lose their life, why is there still a video?
Right. Well, I have a couple questions.
Why does it get out?
Was this something that was streamed live, and then somebody recorded it off the stream?
Yeah.
And now it's preserved essentially.
Yeah.
If it's somebody just shooting a video that's not immediately streaming, once she died, what kind of imbecile wouldn't destroy the video? Yeah. And I mean, if we're really talking about committing a murder, what kind of idiot doesn't dispose of the body? I mean.
Yeah,
no body.
As we talked about, I don't. It could have been. What's most likely what happened was dumb stuff happened. They got into a fight, or they were forcing her to fight. They were drunk. Fight this girl, and this is that, and and she died on accident. And so now everybody's
panicking and not thinking clearly and making really bad decisions.
Really bad decisions.
Yeah.
And let's just go back home and we'll figure this out when we get home. Let's get out of here. And it's just I don't know. It's unfortunate, like you said. Certain things like this, you want to know the details, because we want to know, if it was a group of friends or was it the Mexico cartel came in? You know what I mean? You want to know. What happened? Tell me, what happened?
Yeah.
So were they forcing you guys to fight at gunpoint, or what happened?
Yeah.
So I think more details will come out because it's a national story.
Yeah. But I think what you said very early is it would depend on people telling the truth, and everybody in that apartment now has a motivation to not tell the truth, to somehow absolve themselves individually of responsibility. Yeah. Point the finger at somebody else.
But my experience tells me that all it takes is one, and there's almost always one
who roll and give you something. Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point. It's been a crazy week, so I just want to go ahead and go from one tragedy to another here. As the University of Virginia, the football team has lost a couple of players after a shooting that killed 3 players and severely injured.
I think a 4th player was shot and is in some sort of intensive high level of care with bad injury. And
one of the players lost their life. He was sound asleep when the guy shot him.
Yeah. I just read that.
Yeah, he was sound asleep when the guy shot him. Now, was the guy that did the shooting, he was a current player or a former?
What I was able to gather so
far or something.
What I was able to gather so far is that he was a walk-on on the team a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. Was only a walk-on with the team for a year, and then has not actively been the team. Well, I'm kind of I'm wondering, was he still one of those people that's kind of around the team and hanging out with everybody, or what have you? Apparently, his father came out and made some statement to the effect that his son was, in the last few times he spoke to him, acting like he was paranoid and afraid for his own safety. that this would be the shooter being afraid for his own safety. So I don't know what went into that. Maybe there's a mental health issue. Maybe there's some sort of weird thing where he was being bullied himself, maybe. I don't know. But the witness that okay, so this occurred. The killer and the football players that were wounded all went on a field trip to the D.C. area to watch, I believe, a play. They came back. They were on a bus. And then as they're arriving back in Charlottesville, that's when the shooting occurred.
Right.
And so there was apparently a witness there that he said that the guy clearly seemed to target football players.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of speculation. Did the guy have some sort of, weird, like bad experience or bitterness about his football career, and that's why he was targeting football guys?
That would have had to been.
There has to be something in there,
but also,
or unless there was like a direct beef with him. But it's a little funny. I mean, not funny, but it's a little. You have to consider he's shooting multiple people.
Yeah.
It's not like he had a direct beef with one person,
right,
and then acted out on that.
Right.
So I mean, he's shooting in a bus with multiple people and kills multiple people. So I don't know how what you can draw from that as far as being a direct conflict with something personal.
My when I first hear this and listen to and read the story, my thing is it can't be a coincidence that these things don't happen in multiples in other sports. I mean that's that like basketball, soccer, whatever. It's only football where a guy goes crazy and people die. I mean,
well,
like
Baylor had a basketball murder a few years back.
That's why I said in multiples. Like,
okay.
Like there's 5 to 10 stories every year. I mean, that's similar. Whether it's a guy
really
like severely beating up his girl, maybe she doesn't die, but she has like all of this like violent acts.
Just like, violent acts in general.
Yeah, violent acts in general. From if you're talking about just players that are people that are attached to the sports, you just hear way more often in football, and then that draws like you watch that CTE movie, and then you continually hear about the research. It just can't be a big coincidence. It just can't.
Yeah. The CTE is definitely a real thing. That's a consideration. Football, when you see higher level football being played, mm-hmm. it is violent. Mm-hmm. It is not for everybody. Now, like I can look at high level basketball or soccer, two sports I enjoy a great deal, and I could be in awe and go, man, I wish I could do that, but I can't do it for an athletic reason. I can't do it for a skill reason. You can watch high-level football, and I remember this when I was in high school. I went to see Army play at West Point, mm-hmm. and we had good seats, and you saw the speed and pace of the game, and how like absolutely unforgiving and committed guys were to hitting and tackling.
Yes,
and on some basic level, that's not normal. And when you do that from a young age up to elite level of Division I, and I'm saying exclusive of the CTE, which is another level of this, you are talking about different men. The men that can play football at a high level and have the ability to run through somebody. That's different. It's just not a normal thing that people have in them to do. And I think when you have that, you have possible CTE. That's probably why you have higher levels of violence from people in that sport compared to maybe basketball, baseball, soccer, some of the other games. That would be a factor. But obviously when you talk about each individual incident, there's got to be things going on there as well that account for what happened.
Kind of like you sound like you're describing the warrior gene.
The warrior gene.
The warrior gene. Yeah, it's that there's this conversation about this energy that men have that will actually allow them to actually go to travel back in time. But for me to get a sword and give it a bunch of guys who have swords and bows and arrows and charge head first into another group of guys with the same thing, it's a warrior gene.
Okay.
That's the conversation. It sounds like you're describing something like that, and that is not in everybody.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. They're not. We're not. They're different.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why we watch the game, because it's like you're watching the gods.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're watching the gods.
No, that's true. No, I get that, but I definitely think that's a factor in why there's probably a higher level of violent acts amongst football.
Did you ever think about playing football?
No.
That was quick and concise. He didn't have to think that one over.
No. But well, I was always like a small guy. Like playing in the neighborhood, yeah, we did that. But for me, soccer and martial arts, taekwondo.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Okay. Nothing wrong with that, but yeah. So yeah, with this, more details will come as far as what his mental state was. I mean, they know it was him, and they have the witness that was there. But the difference in these two stories is the reason for it is not as much needed. You know what I mean? Because.
Well, what do you mean by that? Because I mean,
I don't
they're
need
two
to know.
different stories.
But
I
still need to know.
Yes,
I don't really need to know because it's almost spelled out. I mean, he's a former walk-on. He's only targeting football players. There's some type of jealousy or somebody was either like constantly joking on him that he's not on the team anymore. Like
what's interesting to me
is
is there's typically a psychological progression to executing this. That's what I would want to see. That's what intrigues me.
Like, you don't think this was just a flip of one day, like nothing ever happened between him and these other players, and then just the next day, bang, bang, bang.
No, there's always
there was a
something.
progression.
It doesn't work
There's
that
always-
way.
yeah,
He
there's
could
always
have delved. I mean, and it may not have been other acts of violence.
Right.
He could have just been delving into like just dark subject matter and weird stuff. Like I just think that you don't go from being like a normal, well-adjusted guy to opening fire in a bus. Like there's steps and
evolution,
progression that go there.
Dick Gregory said, "Evolution precedes revolution," and it's like when a woman is pregnant, the 9 months she's pregnant, that's the evolution. But when the water breaks, that's the revolution. So you can't have that act without something building up to it. We just may not, it may not be seen, may not be noticed, but you can't have one without the other.
And then typically when you actually see that when it manifests in the violence, you see there's typically like a triggering event.
Yeah.
Like a loss of a job, loss of a relationship, loss of loved ones, things like that. There's almost like a playbook for this stuff, sadly, but
it is. Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, and we have Coach Baruti, the life coach, in the building. One thing I don't want you guys to forget, of course, is our second sponsor, Royal13thebrand.com. We are headed into the fall. We are in the fall season, headed into the winter, and Royal13thebrand.com has all of your clothing needs. Be fly, be fresh going into the fall and winter. You need a classic fit, a fit for classic. Hit Royal13thebrand.com. It'll get you there on time. And use promo code bubbapink, and you get be fly on a discount there. You just can't beat it. You can't beat it with a stick.
Beat it with a stick.
All righty, so
or
next.
with some Vaseline.
No Vaseline shot to Ice Cube. One of the best diss tracks of all time.
Well, exactly.
I think that's the best one ever.
It's definitely up there, man.
Nothing else jumps out being better than that.
I don't know. Tupac has one where he just went on a complete tirade, and that's tough to beat too. Another team that's not tough to beat these days is the Brooklyn Nets, and they have a lot of stuff going on. I don't even have Kyrie picture here, but we are going to briefly talk about that situation as well. But Kevin Durant had a big interview. I don't know if you saw some of the tea leaves from it, and basically he's detailing why he made his trade request, because it was such a huge, like everybody was assuming and speculating why he made the trade request, and basically the crutch of it was he didn't like how the team was practicing, and that led to poor performance. It was certain drills that he wanted and thought that they would, become better defensively if they did, and they just never did, and which led to the coaching, wanting the coaches to be fired and things like that. And that was the main reason why he said he asked for the trade request. But he went on and he made a lot of different comments, and one I thought the one I thought stood out the most was this one right here. It says, "Look at our starting lineup." We got Edmund Sumner, Royce O'Neal, Joe Harris, and me. It's not disrespect. Whenever you say that, it is disrespect. It's not disrespect, but what are you expecting from that group? You expect us to win because I'm out there. I don't know. I don't like that comment. I don't think it's,
I don't have a problem with it.
You don't have a problem with it?
I think it's true.
No, it's not.
That comment right there in isolation is 100% true.
But you can't say that you're throwing your guys under the bus. You're saying they're not.
He doesn't care at this
basically NBA players. Well, you should. You're still trying to win the game.
No.
Like as much as we rag on Will Lee, another friend of the show who's been on the show as well. He's a huge LeBron James fan. He's a stan. He's not a fan. He's a LeBron James stan. Let's call it what it is. He's correct, man. Like LeBron didn't make this comment when they lost in the finals, and he had players much worse than this. Like, you know what I mean? Like much worse than this in the finals against KD.
KD's a different guy.
They didn't
like
guy. He didn't say this.
But no, because he's a totally different guy. He is not a leader. He never has been a leader. He has no interest in leadership. He is a hooper. That's why he lost the best thing he ever had when he left Golden State. Because all he had to do was hoop, and everything else was taken care of.
Yeah.
And when he came here, he needed to be a leader, and he hasn't been. And so what did again, he look at just what, taking what you just said. He didn't like the way practices were going. He felt it affected performance. He makes an off-season trade request. How does Brooklyn respond? They make high demands. They don't move him. They bring the same fucking coach back who lasts 2 weeks in the regular season. Then they fire him, which is just a concession of idiocy. You have to also think, at some level, he's got to be kind of fed up with Kyrie. Because Kyrie has been erratic, and the whole COVID thing last year. Now we get a new season started. We're ready to roll. Maybe Ben Simmons does something, and then you get yourself suspended for 8 games. And I got to walk in here every fucking day and hear about what you said or didn't say, or when you're going to come back, or when you're not going to be back.
I think
I
he's
am
more
here to hoop.
That could be true, but I think he's more upset with how the team handles Kyrie.
No, understood. I completely understand that too.
Yeah.
I think he's fed up with everything.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is just the zero fucks given. It's like, what am I like? Last week he said something about like, I got 5 guys guarding me. Get ready to watch my turnovers. Like, he is just a frustrated, unhappy basketball player, and that's what people will say when they're in that position. Yeah. And again, like he's like Ben Simmons. He's probably rolling his eyes at him. Oh, you're healthy. You still suck. Come on.
Man, when people when we're frustrated, we're frustrated.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's real easy for him to feel like so before he says these things in public, I'm going to guess he said them to someone in private.
Yeah. Right.
So F me. Oh, okay. F you.
Yeah.
That's just what that is.
But I look at this statement. It's true.
It's a true statement.
Like what is the expectation? And again, let's also say that this is not peak career KD. This is an older KD.
Yeah.
And what are we expecting from him? With this supporting cast. I think it's actually honest and self-aware.
Another piece is it is Ben Simmons. And as a life coach, I wonder what would you prescribe
Ben reaches
for Ben?
out and say, I need help.
Yeah, because he's a guy.
Coach?
He's a former All-Star. Mm-hmm. He's a former defense. All-team first defense. Things like that. He's on a max contract. The same type of max contract that all the biggest stars are on, Luka Doncic, all these Jason Tatum. He's on the same type of level contract.
Well, here's the
now
thing.
he's a backup center.
Well, and here's what we really have to look at positionally. This is a guy that was identified early as a basketball prodigy. He was
Next
before
LeBron
he
James.
even set a foot on LSU's campus. He was the projected #1 pick. Mm-hmm. And again, we can criticize and nitpick at his time in Philadelphia, but for the beginning of that time, he played and reached an all-star level of performance. He's never been a ferocious competitor, but he's always been able to kind of like balance off the talent and this and that. Right now, he is the emperor without clothes. He's not performing in any way.
No.
And whatever his gifts were that we'd seen in the past, he's not able to deliver them. and he's been relegated in his role, and he's been for really the last 2 years just blasted in the media, rightly so. But that's where he is right now from a psychological standpoint.
And I don't think there's a guy that's ever went from a starting point guard in NBA to a backup center in your prime. Like
What should be your prime?
It is his prime. I mean,
This is not his prime. He
peaked at 24. You know,
clearly he wouldn't be the Brooklyn Nets backup center at 24.
And it's all up here.
Absolutely.
It's all up here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like, okay, so okay, I haven't talked to him, right?
Yeah.
So, but I've watched him and his body language. It just tells me that he's just not there. Like, and you can't. One of my number one rules is you can't force the willing, right? He has to be willing, and in his body language, the way I'm reading it, right, says that he's not willing. So, and until they can get someone to get him, to look and find out what that little thing is, because one thing leads to another, and the ideal is to find out what that one thing is. So, and with all the resources that they have, my best guess is that they should have someone who can have the kind of conversation they need to have with them to try to figure some of this out.
And the other. Well, for me, the other piece of this is, it is here, but I think when you talk about all the help that they can get him, I think that's more than half of the problem. I think they've babied Ben since the first day he got in the league, and it's never gotten better. He hasn't had the Greg Popovich type of. And even Doc is in that arena, but Doc even babied him. It's like you get into the league and they tell you, well, you're a guard, but you don't have to shoot. It's okay. You don't want to shoot. You don't have to shoot. You don't want to attempt 10 to 15 layups a game. Oh, okay. Well, just drive on fast breaks. It's okay. Just play defense and do this. Like you don't have to do everything else that all NBA players have to do at your position. They babied him.
I think from a coach, I don't necessarily disagree with the babying thing. He's not been coached hard. He hasn't been coached to improve. He hasn't been coached to be great.
Yes,
but I do think think that when you're coaching sometimes, and this is not always the best way to go about it, but what you do is you kind of take people as they are and you try to build solutions around them. Yeah. And so I don't think they're necessarily going to Ben and say, hey, Ben, you don't have to shoot. But they're realizing this guy's not a shooter. He's reluctant to shoot. How can I construct pieces around him?
And that's what they've done.
And you get to the same place, but you're not doing it as babying maybe as you're suggesting. But the one thing I look at the way he reacted to that final series in Philadelphia when he basically left, went AWOL, dropped communication. That was it. Like, if his reaction is flight, he's never going to be a fighter. And you basically knew what his psychological profile was at that time. And, the Sixers, they eventually traded him and got a few things for him. But, I don't know. I'm not a big guy for improvement. I'm not saying it's impossible. Mm-hmm. But I think when people show you who they are, that's who they are.
You mean not improving basketball
psychologically?
Skills.
I think the bigger thing is psychology. Because the reality is this: if he had a better mentality, he would have came out of that series and been like, "That ain't happening again." Yeah. I'm getting in the gym. I'm not doing that again.
He may not just love, he may not love the game.
Yeah. And that's what they're saying. The next is saying they might not love the game.
For people who watch the game, our expectation of him may not be his expectation of himself.
Agree.
So and he just doesn't know how to communicate it.
Yeah.
Maybe he don't want to play basketball anymore.
Here's a question I have for you as a coach. You mentioned the body language of Ben and how that's telling you a lot about him. Is that often wrong? When you watch somebody's body language, whether it's a body language of strength or confidence or a body language of weakness or avoidance, how reliable an indicator is of where that person is mentally?
Okay, for me, I haven't been wrong too often.
Really?
I've been wrong, but I haven't been wrong too often. right? Because when I coach basketball,
Wait, you said you haven't been wrong.
I have not been wrong too often.
Oh, okay.
Because-
That's what I thought your answer would be. Okay.
So because I coached and I won a lot, but I didn't win because I was like a great coach. I won because I was really good at personalities.
Yeah.
In chemistry.
Yeah.
So in body language. So that's all part of it, right? So I was always pretty good at that, and like so that's why I kind of go there. But again, I don't know him.
Right. Yeah.
So I get to.
Well, I tend to agree with you. I think it's extremely revealing, and I think it's a high level of accuracy, what you're seeing from a body language standpoint. And we talked about like that whole going silent on the Sixers thing when it was happening, and I thought that was really just disastrous from that.
Yeah, it was. It was, man. And then
Very unprofessional.
Yeah, very. And who knows what's going to become of him? Like I said, he's a backup center now for the Nets.
Not much.
And I don't think so, man. I said earlier when I saw him, I said, man, he's closer to being out of the league than being an All-Star again. And that's saying something, man. But even when he was in Philly, I said he's more attracted to what basketball could do for him than what he could do for basketball. Yeah. I mean, he's flaunting around with all the Jenners and the other white girls and he's partying every weekend.
Vapid white whores.
And we talked about the story. Remember the story that the white girl that she was trending on Twitter about going to this party and her friends got in, but she couldn't get in. So she's waiting on the Uber outside of this big old house. And then here comes this fancy car pulling up. It's Ben Simmons. And he pulls her. He's like, oh, what are you doing out here? Like, come inside and this is that. He pulls her inside. And then he's basically bragging about all the money he has, all the cars he has, and stuff like that. And then she doesn't know who he is. So he's like, "What? You don't know who I am? I'm Ben Simmons. I'm the point guard for the 76ers, and this and that. And I got all this money, all these cars." And she's like, "I'm sorry, I just haven't heard of you." And then he kicks her out because he loves his star status.
That's a great point because it's really funny. Like I've actually heard other stories from like celebrity type people, and a lot of times when they meet somebody, that's actually a point of attraction and connection that they don't know who that person is.
Right.
Because they'll react to it like, oh, I can actually interact with this person in a more natural way with less certainty that they're just here because I'm Ben Simmons.
Right.
But his reaction's the opposite. Get away from me. You don't know who the hell I am. Like that again, that's like in every mental aspect, he's horrible.
Yeah. That's bad, man. And then of course, last but not least, you have the Kyrie piece to the Nets. And it's been reported today actually that he's trending. He should be able to play Sunday, and the wording of it is
the Lord's Day.
The wording around it is coming to a completion. That's what was said in the article, and I've read 3 articles. They all said the same thing. So
I've come to completion of time or two.
No, more than a time or two. But what I take from it is he's knocking down the checklist of the 6 things he has.
That's how I read it.
Completion is how I read it.
That's how I read it.
And it hasn't been any like actual reported stories that he's knocking down 1 or 2, or that he's met with the Jewish consul or whatever the case may be. Hasn't been anything of that to note, so nobody actually really knew what was going on. But when you read that completion, that's kind of
the whole completion thing did have that vibe to it.
Yeah, it did. I couldn't stand it.
Yeah. Not only I couple thoughts on that. I wonder if they backed off on any of those components because to me they were absurd at face value. Mm-hmm. Number 2, are they quietly working toward completion almost as like a compromise to avoid some degree of embarrassment of having to like publicly kind of go through these 6 over the top things. So I'm not. That just kind of 2 gut reactions I had.
I've noticed a swing in the energy. Like when it happened initially, I was extremely frustrated by all of the folks on the platforms calling him stupid, calling him an idiot, saying the attack, the onslaught.
Yeah.
Right. And now some of those same people are kind of backing up.
Right.
And they're, so that I appreciate, but yeah, the initial thing, because words have power, right? So when you say something out there, it helps to be compassionate and to be considerate. because I didn't think because I'm difficult doesn't mean I'm bad.
Yeah.
Right. So and I get that he's difficult, but I also there's a thing for me like the manhood, right? So anytime you challenge a man's manhood, I don't like it when people want him to not be a man.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So even if he was it Antoine when the Buccaneer who took off his jersey and quit his job?
Antonio Brown.
Right. Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Right. So when he did that, I was like, okay, that brother got tired and he quit his job.
Fed up.
And people were like, well, but what about all the money? No, for him, that was a good decision because we don't like it. Doesn't mean anything. So sometimes as a man, you have to make a decision based upon because you have to live with yourself for the rest of your life. Right. So I'm kind of cool with people making those decisions as long as they're willing to deal with the consequences as they come. I'm cool with people making those decisions. But when people criticize them for being in that space in that time, that gives me reason to pause. So I didn't like the Charles Barkley comment, the Stephen A. stuff. Stephen A. rarely says anything about black men that I like. That's just that.
People not a fan either.
Right.
So my thing with Stephen A. He's just to me just a loud shtick guy.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of substance to what he says.
No.
And I just disregard that. I just don't have a lot of thing. What is your you don't like a lot of what he says about black men. What is that lane?
He talks cowardly to me. I hear this thing where he's not consistent because he doesn't talk about everybody with the same energy.
Okay.
Right. That's not there. But then he talks cowardly. I think him and Malika Andrews had a situation. He said one thing, and then when she tried to frame it like he was attacking women, he changed what he said and said, "This is what I'm trying to say." No, dude, you said two different things. You see what I'm saying? You saying two different things, so you backing up.
Right, I got you.
Right?
Okay.
But he did get suspended once for standing up for himself. So I get it.
Yeah.
But let's call it what it is, dude. You those are cowardly moves.
I got you.
Yeah.
I was a little blind to it all the way up until he basically fired Max Kellerman from the show, and Max Kellerman would always, I don't know if it's for argument side or if it's really how Max feels, but he would always take what you, for lack of better terms, the black side or the black athlete side or whatever the topic or issue was.
Right.
And at the time, this was the big Kaepernick thing, and that's when he was let go of the show after the Kaepernick thing. He was an advocate for Kaepernick getting back in the league and this and that. And
Stephen A. was opposing that.
What
was his basis for opposing?
He let Max go. Basically he was on the Colin Kaepernick.
Stephen A.'s.
Yeah.
What was his side of that? Like, what was his argument?
He was just he had quite a few. Like he just that Colin was going about it the wrong way, and he doesn't really want to play football. He just doesn't think. It was just a lot of other things that you would have to go back and see. But
he basically made up a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. That's really what it was.
He made up a bunch of stuff. He made a bunch of stuff.
It's always interesting when players do call him out on that. Like Kevin Durant has called him out a couple times. Like, yo, that's completely made up. You didn't talk to me at all. I talked to Kevin Durant and he said this. I'm telling you, he feels like this because I talked to him. I didn't talk to you, man. You don't even have my number.
Right.
Like seriously.
I can see. He thinks because he's loud.
Yeah.
And it is his show, so he gets the last word.
Yeah.
Right. So I get it. I understand how it works. But I would love to be able to sit in the room with him and talk. I would love to be able to sit in the room with him and talk.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I really don't. It doesn't interest me at all. I don't find him interesting. I don't find him particularly bright.
That's why. I want because it's amazing to me how many people don't see him doing what he does.
Yeah.
Right? So and because he's on his platform, he gets to do that. But I would love, like I say, to get him away from that so he doesn't have the control. Right. And just have a conversation man to man and show him that he is not as bright as he thinks he is.
Right. That makes sense.
So, and it's not that I want him to embarrass him. I just want him to be compassionate.
Right. Yeah. No, I like that. I'm with that.
That's for sure. Once again,
you can talk to him. I'll just sit outside.
once again, you guys on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink. We have Coach Baruti in the building. We are available on all podcast streaming platforms, and I do mean all. What is the names of the two platforms that you either own or partake in? You have the Brotherhood Manhood Conversation, and also
so we are the Brotherhood Manhood Fatherhood Conversation Series, and it was a platform we started back in 2016, where we really wanted to just have conversations in the community where Black men could talk, and Black women primarily could listen to us and kind of get what we think and how we feel from us rather than from the normal media, like TV, radio, music, and all of that other stuff, so that we can be better together in relationship. And then from that, we have another program underneath that is called the Conversation Before the Conversation, and this in the same purpose basically. But what we do is we have those tough conversations. So basically, when a man and a woman are having a conversation, they come to an impasse where they just can't see eye to eye. So what we do is we think we can talk in this format. We get to talk, so that maybe a point of view that he's trying to express or that she's trying to express, because we do have women on the platform as well, can be heard. So now you can get something from this conversation, so that when you go back and have the other conversation, you can have more understanding from that. It's just like coaching sports. Like I coached my son for years, and I would tell him to do something, but then I have to bring in another coach to help him with his ball handling, and the other coach would say the same thing.
I talked about that.
The other coach would say the same thing.
I talked about that.
Right?
Yeah.
And my son would respond to him. So I had to learn that just because I know what I'm talking about don't mean I know what I'm talking about. Right?
I still maintain that I know what I'm talking about. You're just too dumb to listen.
Stubborn.
No,
Stubborn.
My son was the same. So I got up in about the high school area, and it would be like, I would make an observation in a game or practice. I would say something, and he would just look at me like I was a complete idiot.
Yeah.
And then inevitably, though, it always worked out that the coach would say the same thing within a few days.
Right.
And suddenly it made sense.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Asshole.
So and then what is your role in the Woodwall?
So we have the Woodwall show at Exclusive Barbershop, and the Woodwall show is the Orlando, the Central Florida. I'm forgetting my words now. Version of like Tiny Desk. So we bring in spoken word artists, musicians, and other people who perform, and they get to perform in the perform in front of the wood wall, and people can come in and we can sit down and have a good time. There's some food trucks there, can have a good time and enjoy a good vibe. And our next show is Saturday, December 3rd, Exclusive Cut Barbershop, the Woodwall show, and that's 4353 Edgewater Drive.
Yes.
Come out. We start about 8 o'clock. Come out and have a really good time.
Yes, exactly.
Sounds good.
Oh, it's really good. Yeah. It's really good.
It's a vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real good time.
Well, I wanted to move into some fun stuff here. Short, not going to stay on it long, and then we'll move to our start a bench segment with Coach Pink, and then we also have a Are You Crazy segment with Bubba here. All right, so let's go to this quick fun thing here. This is Chris Rock, and he's with Kevin Hart, and they're having a good time. And it's I don't want to say it's Chris Rock's first appearance since everything happens, but he hasn't made many. All right, so it's just a quick fun thing that I wanted to quickly talk about here. Here we go.
I hosted Saturday Night Live with Meg Thee Stallion. I said, when you get to your old nigga phase, give me a call. She got to fuck her rappers and whatever right now. Get her point guards in there,
Hey.
But at some point.
You're having fun now.
At some point,
you're going to want
need somebody to take care of that debt. And that's where I come in.
Chris.
We
love you, Meg Thee Stallion.
It was good, man. And I just want to talk about it from the standpoint of, because, it's been going on since the beginning of time. the older the guy is, a lot of times he's gonna like a younger woman, right? He's gonna want a younger woman, and like, why is that? Is it from the standpoint of course, okay, maybe she's gonna look better physically and things like that. Maybe, you know what I mean? You know, a lot of black women age very great. You know what I mean? But is it a control thing? Is it like she's going to want me, I know, because I can pay some of her bills or can fly her out or whatever. Like, I just, you know, like, what is
as somebody who's getting older, I would say this. Like, for the most part, this is just not even specific to women. I don't get much out of hanging out with people my own age. They feel old to me. They feel half dead. And I don't want to be around that energy. And so, like, if you look at a guy who's, like, you know, in a category where the women his age are hitting menopause and losing sex drive, like, who wants to be around that nonsense? I'd rather have some hot pussy than a hot flash.
Oh my goodness.
So, like, I mean, like, you know, there's a drive. I mean, if you are somebody that you know has a good energy level, that stays relatively young in mind, that there's going to be a natural attraction to people that are younger. You're gonna want to be around that energy. You're gonna want to. You'll. It's like a fountain of youth in a way. I think that's a part of it. And then a lot of people will also kind of hit a certain level of success later in life that they might not have had in their 20s and 30s. And then maybe, you know, whatever, paying a few bills or you know, hey, let's go to the Bahamas this weekend is like a viable thing that when they're in their 30s, like, hell no, I got to pay my own rent. You know, those sort of things. So and you know, women are like, you know, they'll fall for that shit too.
It's also like there's a nature component, right? And I'm gonna, you know, try not to be too mechanical about that. But the numbers show that men from 20 to 80 find women most attractive between the ages of 22 and 24. 27 on the far end, and that's basically because that's like, for women, that's like when they're most fertile.
Okay.
So a man being attracted to a woman when she's more fertile in terms of being able to have his children, right? Okay. So then the older women get, of course, as they say, the clock is ticking.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Or they're going to hit this. You know, they get to this place where that's not, childbirth is not easy for them. So there's that component. And then for women, in terms of, you know, social programming says a man's job is, or his role is to provide and protect. So a man who's established is more capable on the average of being able to provide and protect. So you got so there is some of that. Then you have, you know, people who are out there who just got money and they know they can pay for things. Right. So that's another thing. But those other two components are actually there. Yeah.
This is in the same, I guess, ballpark but different area here. Why in America? Why is it frowned upon just to pay for sex? I wonder. Because it's basically being done. I mean, women. Let's not even talk about hip hop music, because in every song from every female rapper, that's all you're gonna hear. I got dudes paying for my coochie, basically, and that's from track 1 to track 20. And when you look at the social media constructs on social media and things, I mean, that's really what it is. I mean, but it's still, if I paying, you know, whatever it is, $50 in exchange directly for it, there's frowned upon, and there's something legally wrong with it.
That's the problem. For some reason, they decided to make direct prostitution illegal and passive prostitution a way of life. That's what you have. Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, maybe again, like who gets picked up for like who actually gets arrested for prostitution?
You can't tax it.
Yeah. Yeah,
as soon as they found a way to tax marijuana, and now it's gonna be in a Circle K.
Circle K, yeah. No, but like, who actually gets arrested for prostitution?
Right.
Probably lower income, low middle class people doing that. Mm-hmm. Like, you're just harassing people that don't need to be harassed. Yeah. Like, let them pay for some sex. You know, the rest of this stuff. I mean, I think there's really. The whole concept of like just basically equating money and sex is really a horrible situation.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I'm agreeing with you. It's ridiculous.
If they come and we come, everybody had fun. It shouldn't be about anything else.
Well, there's this thing, right? Because I think it's an even exchange.
Do you?
I think it's an even exchange. I think that I am just as good to you as you can be to me.
Oh, the sex part.
The sex part.
I agree with you there.
I think that's an even exchange. So
Yeah.
now, if I got to do all this stuff and all this work to get an even exchange, then it's not an even exchange, right? So I taught my sons, and I apologize for my language. I taught my sons, you're not getting pussy. You're giving out dick. You need to know that you're the prize.
There you go.
Right? You need to know that you're the prize. And then they have to earn time with you like you have to earn time with them. And then you're more in a sharing situation. Now, I hope they remember this and I hope they continue to think that way. But they
Just keep giving that dick, boys.
They were taught. They were taught.
No, but it's so true though, because without that, then you're thinking like everything centers around the woman, and some of that is fine, but it's like doing everything for her, and you believing like coochie is like the king of everything, and it's like I have to do everything to get this. And I feel blessed to have it. To you know what I mean?
Well,
that's
you
got to admit
the whole bill of goods we were sold.
You got to admit, there's not another natural feeling that's better.
No.
True. But
we don't know how that feels for them. I mean, maybe there's no natural feeling. To your giving out.
You can speak about your own experiences.
But when you're doing it right, they're having a damn good time. Like seriously, right? Like it's the same for them. It's a weird societal bunch of bullshit. That we've accepted. That basically we have to do extra stuff to get the pussy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to quote. Jeff Brown, comedian Jeff Brown, who used to be a regular on the Zoe Williams podcast, and Jeff Brown said, "Pussy is earned, dick is not."
Yeah,
you got to take on. You got to take on a date. You got to buy. You got to do stuff right to get that. And for you, it's could you come over?
Yeah, that's seriously.
Right. So, but that's societal programming, though, right? Those are the rules to the game.
Yeah.
Right. So
and that's why those are the rules of the game, and so we get women that we resent for having the sense of entitlement, but that's kind of like what they've the rules that they've been introduced in how to play the game.
Yeah.
And then it's just I mean I'm all for the deconstruction of that.
Yeah.
We're in that era now.
Jaesun put up a good post. Another friend of the show on Facebook. He was like, ladies, when is the last time you told a man to be ready by 8? I'm picking you up. You know what I mean? And he just saw it was like a fucking bomb had been placed.
Shout out JAESUNMUZIC.
I'm telling you.
That's beautiful. That might have been one of his better ones ever. Certainly top 5.
Oh man! All right, so that's that. I wanted to move to start a bench with Coach Pink. So, Coach Baruti, what this is, we give Pink 60 seconds to talk about all the trending topics, not all, but just the ones that I selected here, in the world of sports, music, entertainment. And then after he's done, we kind of judge him on what he on his comments there made on these topics. All righty, so let me get my clock ready here. Pink always tells me I don't get the clock ready.
I know you don't. You literally always have to say, "Let me get my clock ready."
I want to let the people know what I'm.
Stay ready, so you don't have to get ready.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to do start a bench with NFL MVP.
NFL MVP. Let's start that.
All righty, so by all consensus, it is Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts of the Eagles, and Tua of Miami Dolphins. Now, of course, we know that Tua has missed a couple of games due to the concussion.
Which has only strengthened his argument.
Right.
Because they're 7-0 in games that he's started and finished.
Which the word valuable comes into play there. So just what do you think? Who should be MVP? Who's going to win it?
I think it's too early to tell. I think these three guys are close enough to a dead heat, and the winner is going to be the guy who closes best.
Closest best as a team wins or stats wise.
Team wins actually probably more important than that. I mean, let's just say if Jalen Hurts goes 16-1, and the other two are a few games off that pace, I think Hurts gets it. But if they're all, I would say if the records are all the same, Mahomes gets it just because of his enduring greatness. But any one of them, if they finish with the best record and continue to play well, can win it this year. It's not decided by me in any means.
Time. All right, next is Bruce Arians, started bench, who was now in the Tampa Bay Bucks front office, the head coach last year.
Yeah, I heard a clip about it. Let's start, BA.
Yes. So Bruce had a big radio interview. He was tell all. And basically he was just saying how it was Tom Brady's fault that the team got off such a slow start. But he was actually was not known. He was defending Brian Leftwich, who is the black offensive coordinator. And that's one thing you can say. Bruce Arians he's been known to knock Tom Brady. He's actually on his team, but also he's always lifted up Brian Leftwich and hired several black assistants.
Well, and the move that preceded this season is he felt he was going to have a strong team back, and he wanted that job to go to Todd Bowles, and to basically give a black coach a chance to be in a winning situation and run with it. So he has a strong record of promoting and supporting black coaches in the profession. I could completely understand that would be his motivation in this. But I also I was listening to Shady McCoy earlier today, and he said this is what Bruce is. He's the type of guy that if you have a bad practice, he's going to tell you had a bad practice. He's not going to back away from that. And so this is very much on brand with him. And I get, so I'm not surprised by it. And again, that very first year they were together, he took a couple early shots at Tom.
Right.
Let's
go with flight, airplane, start a bench.
I guess we'll fly. I don't know. Thanks to the Wright brothers.
So, okay.
Pretty vague there.
Yeah, it is. So to explain it, there's a couple with a child. They're going on the plane, right? Now, how they didn't book their seats where together. So there's a man stuck in between the mother with the child and the husband, all right? The guy that's stuck in the middle, he's on Twitter in live time, and he's talking about it. And there's this huge debate going on Twitter now because during this entire flight, there's a couple of hours, the husband doesn't say anything to the wife and child, doesn't interact. You would think they were complete strangers. You know what I mean? So what they're saying is is the husband wrong for not buying all three seats together? Did he do it on purpose? Did he want a couple of hours apiece? And then why does the woman
go to another row?
Why does the woman have to hold the baby the entire time and they don't share? That's what the debate is about. Is the husband wrong for this interaction?
I don't think you can evaluate it in right or wrong terms.
Yeah.
Because it is what it is. Now, we don't know. Maybe she smashed another guy before they got on the flight. He just don't want anything to do with it. There's a lot of reasons. Maybe he is that super macho guy who you're just supposed to take care of the kid and that's it. That's not me, but maybe that's his whole thing. But I mean, to me, it sounds like they probably had a fight. I can't imagine getting on a flight or being on a flight where if there was a married couple on either side of me, I would simply volunteer to move my seat.
Right.
I'll take the other side. You guys sit together. I mean, that's just weird. I mean, so to me, I think there was some sort of beef that day. There was some sort of problem at the house.
What you think of?
Well, as you were telling the story, I kept thinking he was the jerk. The guy in the middle.
Yeah.
I think he's the jerk. He could have offered the seat.
Yeah, when you started saying, I'm like, how is that guy not just saying, hey, why don't you guys sit
I'm
together?
assuming, the way he's telling the story, I'm assuming he did. Because if you're going on and on about this guy not interacting with his wife, I'm assuming that he maybe nudged him like, hey, you could take the seat if you want or something, and the guy declined. Now, did I read that? No. But I'm just assuming, like, the way he's telling the story, he's kind of ragging on the guy.
Right.
Which, where, of course, common sense would say, well, just give your seat to the guy, and then you force him to interact or something.
Right.
He's so
Right.
concerned about it.
Well, of course, it's all speculation, but I'm like, okay, so why is it any of your business?
Yeah.
That's that's another thing. That's
thing.
between me and my woman. Why you in this? It's our relationship.
Nah, I did a mental switch at the beginning when you first started telling the story. I'm like, why is this guy not giving the seat to the couple?
Right.
But then when he got to the Twitter part, what he was saying, I'm like, oh, maybe they didn't really want to sit near each other at all, and this was like there was a reason. You know, the guy was a buffer.
Yeah.
All righty there. So we got Boston Celtics /1 in the East. Starter bench.
Got to start for our guy Clifford Gaines. He
Yes.
just checked in with a comment.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah. So go ahead.
What? Wait, what?
Boston #1. They're #1 right now in the East. You got Tatum in the MVP race. Just is talking about the Celtics coming back from, being in the finals. last year.
My take on this is that I thought they went to the finals last year. I thought they made some nice roster moves coming into the year. And I would have expected if we posed this in June or right after the finals, I would have said absolutely. But then with the Ime Udoka thing and the coaching change, and then Gallinari got hurt, so he hasn't been a part of it. Then it kind of went into a little bit of question for me. But the Celtics, like to quote Dennis Green back in the day, they are who we thought they were. They're really good.
Yeah.
And they've been around each other for a long time, and they had a couple nice pieces, and Joe Mazzulla's not hurting them on the bench, so why not be first? Hats off to the Celtics.
Hats off. All righty, time. Klay Thompson, starter bench.
It's my guy, Klay. Got to start him anytime he's available.
So Jordan Poole, who is a young guy, they just paid a lot of money to a guard who has been coming off the bench for the Golden State Warriors the last couple of years. He had a huge night and had a couple of good games here and there to start the season. Klay has had a slow start to the season, who, of course, has been the starting shooting guard for the Golden State Warriors for all of these championship years. So there's a huge social media debate, NBA fan debate about they should bench Klay now and start Jordan Poole. I mean, it's the younger guard coming, and Klay is struggling to reclaim his form after those injuries, those harsh injuries. So what's your take on that?
A little bit of a nightmare scenario. Last year when Klay first came back and sat out the first chunk of the season, it was easy to just kind of transition him in, getting healthy. He played reasonably well in the playoffs and through the finals. And so you come into this year like, well, hey, he's Klay, let's start him. But he hadn't played up to that. I think it's very tough mentally, and I think as good as Klay is, he's not in a great place mentally. He kind of admitted like he had some anxiety about playing pickup this summer. And I do think for the long haul, you probably got to ride Klay. They've already gone to the thing where they're going to rest him back-to-backs, so Jordan will be starting a certain amount of the games and flourishing in that role. But I think long-haul adjustment, you kind of still ride with Klay, hope he gets his feet back. And then when you get to the playoffs, it's Malcolm X by any means necessary, and if you got to bench Klay, you bench him.
Facts. Chris says, oh, man, I never knew anyone else knew about Zoe Williams' show.
You and Chris are kindred spirits.
Hey, we've had Zoe on our show.
Oh man,
okay, there you go.
Oh man, yeah. So shout out to Chris. Chris is actually the editor of our show, so I'll definitely get him the information so he can check your show out.
Oh, absolutely.
I got the Knicks on here, but I'll go ahead. We'll go ahead and bench
the Knicks.
We knew the Knicks were going to be basically the Knicks. All right.
No surprise there.
So last one is Gummy Bears starter bench.
I like gummy bears.
Okay, so
not the weed ones.
Not the weed ones. Very good. Yeah, you got a distinct there. Right? So there's a guy, Harbor, whatever, however you say the company name. They are a large gummy bear.
Haribo. Yeah, you
large
see,
gummy bear manufacturer.
Yes,
you see them in every store.
Yeah.
Some kind of way they had a check, and I guess a person high up in the company lost a check for a few $1 million. I think $4 or $5 million.
Like an actual physical check? You misplaced it?
Yes.
Okay.
A guy found this check, right? And he returned it. And as a thank you, they gave him a bag of gummy bears.
Just a single bag.
Maybe a couple. And he wrote on social media, and he's been trying to make it go trending. It's like, what a cheap company. People should stop buying it.
He spent more gas money trying to return that check than that bag of gummy bears.
First up, what are you going to do with the check?
You can't do anything with the check.
You can't do anything with it.
Is that how they're thinking?
Yeah. So, but okay. Well, what is the proper compensation for returning a check?
Thank you. Thank you. And if I'm going to give you something, I'm going to make it worth your while. I mean, I just think a bag of gummy bears sounds insulting.
Yeah, right. It almost smacks
it sounds insulting.
Yeah.
A thank you just would have been better. Like, thank you, sir.
Yeah. And again, I don't know that I don't know that I would return the check with a big expectation of something. Like, I mean, what am I expecting here? They gave me 10% of the check. I mean, like, what? Realistically, what's going on?
Now, if the check is blank, there's no name on it, and I return it. I'm expecting something, right? I could have just cashed this. We could have just deposited this, and
in that case, now you're talking something different.
Right?
There may be something wrong with this guy.
But if the check is filled out, if the check is filled out, he returns the check.
I couldn't imagine returning a check. Now you're talking. Now I would be pissed. I return a blank check like. Now I'm.
But what are you?
I couldn't live with myself.
What are you expecting in compensation?
Now I do need a piece. I need a piece. I return a blank check, and then
I need a piece of what?
I need a piece of that. The million.
I need a lifetime supply of green gummy bears.
Like, what do you need?
Just green gummy bears.
I mean, is $1,000 good? Is $100,000 good? What do you expect?
It's something, man.
I expect a bag of gummy bears a week for the rest of my life.
I would totally Sir, do you like gummy bears? Yeah. Well,
it's Tuesday. Here he comes. Here comes Coach.
We're going to drop you off a couple bags every week for the rest of your life. Just keep your address updated.
All right. So, Coach, what do you think about any other things that we talked about really quickly here? Like I said, either, you got the Bruce Arians with Tampa Bay. You got Boston Celtics #1. We talked about the airplane thing. You got the NFL MVP. And we just talked about the gummy bears. Anything else you wanted to add?
I'm not normally excited about football because it just wasn't, my thing. But I've always been a Dolphin fan, right? So, and the one thing I always had was we were the only team to have an undefeated season, 1972. Right? That was my thing. But Miami's looking really good, and I'm actually excited about football now.
Yeah.
So I'm rooting for the MVP.
To beat Miami Dolphins too.
Yeah.
All right, that's solid, man.
I want Coach of the Year to be Mike McDaniel, though.
That's
the Dolphins
coach.
I love that guy.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
He is. All right, once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink. We're available on all podcast streaming platforms. We have life coach Baruti in the building here. From here, let's go ahead and get into some craziness, man.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and get into it. This is, Are You Crazy with segment with Bubba here. And basically what we do is we talk about a couple topics here. And my main goal is to see whether these people are crazy or not for what they said or for what they did here. All right. Let's go with the easiest one that you guys can see at the top right corner. P. Diddy, who has been under fire the last couple of weeks. People are unveiling that he most likely probably is gay. And 2022, that shouldn't be such a problem. But when guys do their damage to hide it, it's just bad. Just go ahead and come out with it, man.
I just like the way you said that. Most likely is probably.
Because
So you believe that? So you believe he's gay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's no doubt about it. But anyhow,
what's the most damning evidence, though?
I
haven't followed the story that closely.
He has all these interviews. It's when you see them put together. You know how these people do it. And I see them individually. You don't think anything of it because it's just one thing at a time.
Yeah.
But when they put them all together, he just makes all these type of crazy comments and things like, he had one with Fabulous, right? And he's at an interview and he's telling Fabulous, oh man, happy birthday and this and that. He's going on and on. and he's saying, "Man, what do you want for your birthday, man? I can, maybe we can have one of those parties, and it could be me and you." And he's making gay. He's making like
hitting on him.
Yeah, and he's
okay.
You have to see it.
That's funny.
But anyhow, that's not what this is about. He's not crazy for being gay. If that's what you are, that's what you are, and that's awesome. But right here, he's saying he spends $5,000 a day on haircuts. He need his hair done like every 5 minutes. Now that we're not talking about the gay thing, but that could be something. But that's crazy.
That's fucking insane.
For I don't care how much money you're making or what you do for a living, $5,000 for a haircut, number one. Now the haircut prices are rising, so I'm sure if it was rising for us common folks, I'm sure it rises for stars too. But a day, come on, man.
It's ridiculous.
What are you trying to do?
But presumably he's a busy guy.
He needs to go bald.
Yeah.
Save some money.
But you're a busy guy. Like, how do you have time to do a freaking haircut
every day?
Like, what the fuck schedule do you have?
That's wild, man.
That's ridiculous.
He should have kept that to himself.
Yeah.
And also, I don't believe it. That's another thing. All right.
He's waiting. I need my hair done every few minutes. Like, what is that? I mean, is he paying somebody like a flat fee of $5,000 a day to just make sure all his fucking follicles are tuned up?
I know some barbers here in Orlando. Like, sign me up, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm not even a barber, but I'll take $5,000.
I'll learn, right? I'll go.
Hello. If I could just do a week before he gets tired of me screwing up his head, I'll be all right.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's right, man. That's crazy.
Up next, I imagine it's going to be a slightly longer topic here. This lady is trending. She says she went on a first date with a guy, and he ordered milk in a restaurant, and it really freaked her out. Now, I looked at it and I said, "Man, men just can't do nothing these days." But then I really thought about it, and I was like, "That is a little crazy, man." You're out on a first date. It's
where was this?
It's at a restaurant. It's at a restaurant.
Well, no, but it matters. Were you at Denny's? I mean, milk's pretty normal.
No.
We're at Kiki's.
I think this is they're at like a steakhouse or something type of restaurant. And you know how when the waiter comes and say, "Okay, what are your drinks?"
Well, I'll tell you a true story. We went to a meal with a coworker, and it was like a kind of a marketing kind of meal. We're at the Capitol Grill, decent steakhouse. We're there for lunch, and over the course of his meal, like he had like a sweet tea, he had 2 different types of soda, and then at the end of it, he had a milk. And it was pretty bizarre at the time. I'll admit that. I'm like, who shuffles through that many drinks? But, I love chocolate milk, and I'll drink it anytime, anywhere. I don't give a damn. Especially if I've had a less than optimal day. Nothing's more satisfying than a tall glass of chocolate milk. So
I'm torn between this because I on a date. I think on the first date, and we talked about dating over and over again on this show. And my main thing has been I just wish everyone could be their true 100% self on the first date. So then from there, okay, what you're dealing with, and it's just not the case.
Better keep milk in the fridge for this guy.
Yeah, people are hiding and they're not talking the way they normally would talk and act. And this guy orders milk. Now, even if I'm a milk lover, I'm not ordering milk on a date. I'm just
you're not.
It sounds childish. Even if I love milk, it's like some men shy away from ordering salads on a date, like just only a salad.
Really?
Yeah, if they're taking a woman out to eat. Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard of it, but yeah, me and my wife go through this because she mainly just eats just salads, but that's my wife, right?
Right.
And she's like, "Well, you can do that." I say, "No, a salad for me comes with the meal." But that's because like
I was
now
here's
the thing.
Like, are you talking about ordering like the salad
Just
as your
a
main
salad.
meal?
It's a side salad.
Not,
Yeah.
Okay, no. At the house, I can do that. I can have a salad. But in a restaurant, no, I'm not paying for a salad.
Nah, that's kind of.
But I'm not even talking about
you
that from that aspect. I'm talking about from the aspect of like it. The salad part is they say it makes you look less of a man if you're ordering a salad and then a woman that's the aspect I'm talking about.
All right, so I never let anybody tell me what my manhood should look like.
Okay.
So if
might show him what it looks like.
Right. Hello. So yeah. So if this young lady thinks that she felt some kind of way because of him ordering milk.
Yes,
I don't think he's the problem. I don't think he's the problem.
No, I would say that.
I think
That's, I'll 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you freaked out
Yes.
because the guy ordered milk, you don't have any real, you got a character flaw.
Right. So like we talking about dating, right?
Yes.
And we're talking about how people, the getting to know you phase, right?
Right.
So you just showed me something about yourself. If you got a problem with me ordering what I want to order,
Right.
Yeah, there's a problem. You think I should order what you want me to order?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
No, I think in what you said, if you want people to be closer to their authentic selves, then order what you want to order, and it shouldn't bother you.
No.
I mean,
right. So and if I'm going to decide what I'm going to eat because I want you to think of me a certain way, so now I'm not being my authentic self. So now I'm giving you a version of me that's not really me. So now we're playing the game.
Yeah.
Right. So now I got real simple rules. Either we playing the game or we're not.
That's it.
Yeah. Right. So if we playing the game, we playing the game.
Right.
And you got to go with all that comes with that.
Right. If you've been on a date and the woman ordered something that, maybe not freaked you out, but was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, well, I told the story on the show about.
Well, no, I'm not talking about a meal for her man.
Well, we didn't know it was meant for a man, but that still applies.
We did
because basically, I'm saying she ordered too much food. You're ordering the what do they call that? What the first thing?
The appetizer.
You're ordering the appetizer, then you're ordering your full entree along with drink 1, drink 2, drink 3, drink 4, and then also you ask for a to-go plate.
She ordered for a family of 5.
No, I said she ordered for her man because unless that was like chicken nuggets or something, that was going back for a dude.
That's doing too much on the first day, even if that is your true self.
I agree with you. I mean,
but actual item, no. I mean, if I'm with a big girl, I know she's going to eat.
If she order a salad, I'm like, what's wrong?
Like, come on, I'm not broke. Order what you want to order here. I know
That's funny. You know what another move is though? If you order first and you order if you order something that does set kind of a tone.
Yeah, it sets the
tone.
tone.
If you go with let's just say a burger or chicken sandwich instead of a steak,
right?
You're kind of sending the signal, hey, we're not going all out. But if you go out and go right to the biggest steak, then it's it opens it up for everybody at the table. Oh, we're doing steak.
This is what we're doing here.
Again, me and my coworkers, we got finessed at Ruth Chris. So we went with a couple of doctors, and they take us out, and we went to the happy hour part of Ruth Chris, which is normally the burger type stuff. Right. So we all got burgers, and they ordered last, and they went full on steaks.
Right.
And we were sitting there eating our burgers God damn, they finessed us.
Yeah. Order what you want to eat.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's funny.
You know what? I came into this. I was going to say that this guy is crazy, but this is a show's first. You guys have made strong, compelling arguments. He's not crazy.
For drinking milk?
Yeah.
Oh,
You order what you want to order, man. Yeah. If you're a milk guy, you're a milk guy.
Yeah.
And especially if the restaurant offers it, if they sell it, people drink it. I mean, it's the type of restaurant where people drink it. So he's not
you're
crazy.
The first man in the history of this restaurant to order milk.
Yeah.
Now, if he goes to McDonald's and he orders a Whopper, then something wrong.
Something wrong.
Right?
He goes to Chick-fil-A and orders a burger.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
Guy might lack a little awareness.
Yeah. All right. Last but not least, we have some young hip hop stars and one aging. I won't say old. I'll say aging here, with grace. But so we have this 21 Savage, who was a young rapper here, and he just dropped a co-album with Drake, who is the biggest artist in the world. And as a young artist, when you make a really good album, as the consensus will say, with the number one artist in the world, you start to smell yourself, And I'm a 21 Savage fan from day one. And since the album, he's just been saying crazy thing after crazy thing. Oh, wow, Drake is just whole. It's like, I do this every other day. I drop a good album every other day. So he's out. The most recent thing he said Well, first of all, I have Kodak on the screen because his first comment was that he can beat Kodak in the verses. He has 20 songs that are much better than Kodak's, which I think is crazy as well. And then his most recent thing, the reason why he's trending right now, is that Nas actually just dropped a really good album, a solo album as well. He just dropped a solo album the other day. And they asked Tony One Savage about it, and he just says, well, Nas is not relevant. I'm relevant. I'm out here. I'm just did an album with Drake. And Nas is not relevant, man. And so my thing is, Nas is a legend. He's a legend. He's an older guy in the rap game as compared to these 20-year-olds, And for him to drop an album and for it to do well and be perceived well, I think he is still relevant.
Well, if he says Nas isn't relevant before the album drops, he's 100% right.
Right.
The fact that Nas drops a good album, it changes everything. I mean, I heard some buzz on the Nas thing, and it shocked me. I was like, he's still actually doing music. Credit to him. If it's a great project, it's a great project.
I don't think it's more so whether he's right or wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's more so of why even say it? I mean, why are you?
Because Nas is relevant. If he wasn't relevant, he wouldn't have said that he's not.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
But it's not competition. It's not that you guys are not in the same vacuum. Why even touch on it? I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's why, and I think that's why.
But
it's
I
crazy.
do think I think you tapped into something at the beginning of your comments. Since this drop with Drake, he's been popping off with a lot of comments.
Yeah.
So somewhere something's going on where he feels this is he drops a good project, but this is the way to go to another level. I gotta say stuff. I got to be somebody that's buzzing. It feels a little contrived to me, but again, let me go at Kodak here. Oh, Nas just dropped something. Let me just jump on that. I think it's really probably a comment of opportunity, and he's just trying to kind of polish up his persona or kind of make himself a little bit more, edgy or something.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's where it's coming from.
It keeps his name in the movie.
Yeah.
It keeps him relevant.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thirst for relevance is just awful. It's just because if it's not based on the substance of your work, it's really trivial and stupid to me.
I think so. I'd agree with that.
I don't know what we said in the last 5 minutes, but I don't know. Ebony says toys feel amazing. I don't know what we mentioned.
I would hazard a guess to say that she just finished using a toy.
I think she may be in the wrong chat. It's been a while since we did our over kink ad. It's been an hour since we did that. So unless we're delayed, maybe
she just finished.
That's quite a round if she just finished.
Little foreplay and all of that.
Shout out to Ebony.
Hey,
Toys R Us.
We're not here to judge what you're doing between your four walls at home, man. Have fun. Have fun and still watch on the bench. That's it's a hell of a night.
Yeah. Oh, good grief.
No, that's good, man.
That's good focus.
Yeah.
All right, so we have two more quick things here.
Oh my God.
Two more quick things that I want to hit.
It literally was an hour ago.
Let's go really quick here. I'm gonna hit JSU really quick. We weekly cover
JSU check-in.
Yeah, JSU check-in with Dion over there. So really quick here, I'm gonna show. Actually,
I heard he wants to throw down with the Ivy League.
Yeah, well that too. But Travis Hunter, the #1 overall recruit last year,
finally scored.
Yeah, who chose to go to HBCU Jackson State.
Finally.
He had his first touchdown.
The first half of the year.
Yeah, he had his first touchdown and his first interception. Here goes a little highlight here. Oh, yeah.
Plenty of alumni here in Mobile.
All right. And
a little reverse sack.
Yeah, a little reverse sweep there. He's going to score.
Gets to the edge.
But this is big because he has been out most of the year, right, with injuries. But one begs the question is he's playing both ways, right? So you're going to see the play here on offense, and then you're going to see the interception on defense. He's playing both ways, and can that lead to more injuries? Should he continue to play like that?
Well, he was injured in high school,
right?
And the injury, he had a surgery over the summer. to address a high school injury.
Right. Well, I'm not saying that
but
playing both ways led to.
I mean, just
out.
mathematically, the more snaps you're involved in, you're gonna likelihood of getting hurt goes up.
Right.
But fuck it, man, play. I mean, this guy's a super talented player, man.
He is,
and I literally think it
monster.
puts him in a box to just put him in a limited usage situation. I don't know if you remember like Champ Bailey for Georgia. I mean, he played for the Broncos and all that. He played both ways at Georgia.
Yeah,
like he was playing. He had games where he played 100 snaps. I mean, just playing, and then he still went in the league and had a long NFL career.
No, he did. Yeah,
You
he did. And
if you have the gift, use it, man.
That's your take on it?
Hell yeah.
It don't last forever.
It does not last forever.
Make it last forever.
Don't even try. You set unrealistic expectations. In and out of the bedroom.
Well, we'll see. I want to see him against a better competition, and that's coming. And
we hope it is.
Yeah, we hope it is. And actually, the quarterback as well, Shedeur, he's really close to breaking a school record that they have there. And he's up for a couple of awards.
He's had a
phenomenal
He got
year.
banged up last game, though.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know. Is he questionable for this week?
He's questionable for this week, but he needs to play in order to break the record. And
is this the last regular season game?
I think there's one or two more.
Oh, okay. Most teams have two more.
Yeah. And Deion did say, hey, we don't need you to be Lamar Jackson. We need you to be Shedeur Sanders, and throw the ball because he can toss the ball around.
Yeah, he got hurt. Like he was running, had a decent gain, and I was watching the game. He could have taken a slide, but he kind of just stayed upright. He got kind of like pinned between two guys. I don't know if it was like a concussion issue or what, but like he kind of got popped by two guys.
Man, I said that I went to the JSU versus Cookman game and I didn't see a first round quarterback. And my God, the guys on the YouTube comments, they just were destroying me. The guy with the hat has no idea what he's talking about. This Shedeur practiced with Tom Brady, and he's the first round. And the guy is just, but it's tough, man. Coming from HBCU, knowing the competition level that they played against, and it's tough, man. It's not going to be as easy as you guys think. And it's so what if he doesn't go first round? It's not like I said the guy's going to, you know what I mean? He's not going to be going to be terrible. It's hard to go first round. I don't care who your father is. You know what I mean? If you're not, because he's not physically imposing. He's not. He's not.
It's
this huge
it's
guy.
the freakish qualities,
right? He doesn't.
You go back to Steve McNair. You had Carson Wentz. You got Trey Lance. These guys are very much like sort of prototype guys who happen to play at lower levels.
Yeah.
But Shedeur doesn't quite fit that profile. So, yeah. I mean, I'm not thinking he's a first round guy at this point either.
Right.
So I think we'll see how that plays.
All righty here. So that's good there. We'll keep tabs on Jackson State there and Deion.
But what did you think of the challenge to the Ivy League schools?
Yeah, they talked about that as well. I think that's an avenue. I think that's an avenue that they should attack. I mean, it's there. We're thinking like the USFs and things like that.
Yeah.
But playing against the Ivy School League route.
I was thinking the way you got to do it. I think the HBCUs would smack them. But I think the way to do it would almost like you see in basketball where they'll do like the ACC Big Ten Challenge where you literally set a week.
Yeah.
And it's like I think there's 8 Ivies, get 8 HBCUs, and just like whatever, the second week of the season, that's going to be the week. We're going to, like whatever, Jackson State's going to play Harvard and FAM's going to play Yale.
They pay us as well, like the big schools do?
I don't think they have the money like that.
Oh, Harvard doesn't have the money like that?
Not in the football program.
Where's the money going?
Research and endowments and academic crap. Maybe the fucking boat club. If they had money in football, they'd be better.
I don't know.
They blow.
It's so hard to get into the school. I mean, I think that has to play as a part of it.
Hey,
right?
Fitzmagic made it.
I didn't get in there.
I'm not surprised. I didn't either. I didn't even get into North Carolina Chapel Hill.
Alrighty, but listen, let's move on to our last topic of the night here. What I want to do is just do a quick little session here. Myself and Coach Baruti, and then Pink could, can comment and judge this here.
Yeah, the last time you did a little role play, it didn't go well.
It didn't, but this is not a role play. But we did have a girl that we role played a dating scenario, a dating scene.
What was your opening line? Like, hey, honey, how you doing?
The problem is when you're not out there as much as your game gets stale. You know?
Does it?
I thought you would have my back on that.
You walked right into that. Awareness zero.
So let's just have a little fun. So I'm gonna tell you some of my how does this work? I'll tell you a little bit of my background and what's troubling and things like that, right?
Yeah.
What is that typical? Okay, so let's quickly get into this now. Okay, so I've been single now for about a year. All right.
I thought you were gonna say 35 years.
I don't think I'm a relationship guy, but I want one because I want a family, right? I want children, right? Mm-hmm. And so here's the thing. If I'm going to give a relationship to somebody, I want certain things. But it's hard to vocalize those certain things because they're not as I would deem normal, what a guy would want or like, right? So I want a woman who has something going on for herself to where she's not on top of me all the time, right? That's one, and that may be normal. All right. Attractive. Right, and let's this is on the bench, so let's go ahead and really lay it out here, right?
Mm-hmm. By all means,
I like from a physical standpoint, I like thick women, but not too much because I think in my mind you have. If you have a baby, I feel like you go get fat. And black women have a history of not wanting to work out. I go to these gyms, I don't see any, all right? Even in Pine Hills, LA Fitness is all Spanish and white women. It's like, what is going on? All right. So that's how I feel. So I stay alarmed on that. I can date them, but I want and let me stop there before I get myself in trouble. Mm-hmm. So you have that piece, and I just want I've never had the, and this it could be true or false. I've never had the good coochie good head combo, and that's what I want now. When you take all of that into consideration, that's not like it doesn't sound like a guy is really looking for a relationship. But if I found that, I would.
It sounds a lot like this Bubba Crazy segment.
But it's tough because I tell myself these things, and then you go on these online dating things. This is another thing too. You want to inbox or talk to every pretty woman that you see. but I'm not a whore. I'm not a, you know what I mean? But it's you're over here and you're talking to this woman and you're in or whatever and you're dating, but then this one comes about and then that one sprouts up out of nowhere. Then this one calls you and tells you they're out of their relationship, and it's hard for me to tell women no. I don't know. So that's a lot. That's in a nutshell.
What do you make of all that, Coach?
What's going on?
You don't know what you want.
I could have said that.
Yeah. Okay. So, in terms of what she looks like physically,
mm-hmm.
and how she could perform,
mm-hmm.
okay. You want her to. Yeah, it don't sound like you want a relationship.
It don't?
Not at all.
It sounds like you want children
mm-hmm.
and someone to help you maintain children, but it doesn't sound like you want to be in a relationship.
Is that so bad?
No.
If that is the case. Not even if a woman is going to hear that and is going to think the worst of that, right? The average woman, not all. But if a guy is like that, but he's taking care of business financially and in other areas, and even if I can say, okay, I'm not going to deal with any other women, even if I say that, what is, if I commit to that, what is so wrong with not really wanting to put a title on it and just being able to want to do what I want to do, but we're both having fun and enjoying life.
Listen, I think that as long as you lay everything on the table and the other person agrees, then the two of you have an arrangement. Right? That arrangement, that agreement is your relationship. So your best bet is to say exactly what you want and see who would like to be involved in a relationship. Because I know...
and you got to prey on those chicks that are like slightly getting up there in age, who feel their childbearing window is closing, but they're already kind of established in their life, and they're not necessarily relationship women.
Yeah, but that goes against. I'm the guy we talked about earlier in the show. I do like younger women.
Yeah,
younger than me.
But I think you're set up for disaster there.
I'm coaching a young lady who is looking to get married, but she wants her husband to sleep in a separate bedroom.
Oh wow! I was going to say hook me up until you said that.
Yeah, she wants to sleep in a separate bedroom or even have his own place, right? But still be married. So I'm saying to you that there are women out there who are looking for something that's not the traditional relationship.
Bubba's unicorn hunting.
And my problem is I would like my options to be in masses, but really,
that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. I ain't gonna lie to you.
But I think the other thing that you're underrating this is the actual kid, because once the kid comes there, all the nice things about like, oh, I have freedom to do this and she has freedom to do that. Now you have this third person. And somebody's got to make something happen for the third person. Yeah. And then you're going to, especially when you do have kind of these like separate active lives, then you get the weird trade-offs where it's like, oh, she's got whatever going on and, you're going to have to watch the kid. And then, she comes back way later. That took way longer than you thought. And that screwed up your follow-up plan. Now you're bitter. Then you get into that whole toxic mess.
That's a great point.
So, and kids can also pull you together.
Yeah.
Right. There's something about little people that is so special, wonderfully special, that you'll find yourself. You can find yourself, not the things that you say you want now, not wanting any of those things anymore for yourself. Right. It might transition. It's possible that it could transition into you creating a world where they are now having those things that you say you want, where you're giving them the opportunity to kind of go and see and be adventurous and that kind of thing. So it would definitely probably go into your parenting style.
Yeah, no, I definitely think when you enter the kid, then that really changes whatever that dynamic is. Yeah. And I think that being in the place that you're at, not having a kid, you're not going to fully grasp the significance of that until it happens.
Right. So you talk, because I try to warn people about being careful, because you're talking about being with someone. I'm going to use today's language. You're talking about partnering with someone who's going to put their life on the line to clone a version of you. Yeah. So the understanding that the two of you need to have needs to be like really played out, plain and simple on the table. This is what we're doing.
No, that's true. That's true. No, that's a good point. I think I learned something there.
I hope so. Yeah. We didn't get all this gray hair for nothing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about where can they find you and your social media handles and stuff like that.
Oh man, best place to find me is the Brotherhood, Manhood, Fatherhood Conversation Series on Facebook. Instagram is Brother Man Father, or Coach Baruti.
All right, and next the soonest thing that you have coming up is you're going to be a part of the Woodwall.
The Woodwall show coming up on December 3rd. And then the next conversation we're going to have, the conversation before the conversation is going to be December 10th.
How frequently do you have the 2 conversation-based shows?
I do once a month.
Once a month?
We could probably do them more often, but because of everybody and our schedules, we try to keep them at once a month. And every now and then I get this itch to do them more.
Yeah.
Right? But it just seems to work out better because, like, something's going to happen in the media, and then everybody's going to jump on it, and they're going to do all this crazy. They're going to have all these wild, crazy conversations, and they kind of get to sit back and kind of let that play out. And then by the time we get around to having our show, we can actually have a good conversation about.
There's enough
There's enough information out there to
kind of like when we talked about the murders today. It's almost like there's
so
not
much
enough information.
There's too much. There's
so much of what we have is like
unknowns.
speculating what may have happened or
so
why.
you can't do anything but guess.
Yeah. That's a good
So,
point.
yeah.
That's a great point. Yeah. All righty. Well, awesome. Definitely thank you for coming on.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, Bubba has sat in
Yes.
a few times on the conversation before the conversation, and I really appreciate it. Yes. It's always good. You always give us one. You always give us one.
No, I really love those conversations, man. As even before I started sitting in the last couple, I mean, I still was coming by to watch you guys.
Yes,
you know what I mean? So, because I just love the conversation that you guys have. It's always engaging, always, and I always come away like learning at least, something.
Yeah, the whole purpose of doing it is so that we can be better in relationships.
And hold on. And my favorite line that I learned some every time I go.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the one that tripped me out when I first heard it was, you got to break it down. You are.
Oh,
hold on. Yeah,
read the shirt.
Yeah, you get who you are at the moment you are that thing. Yes, that one.
Yes.
You get who you are
at the moment.
You are that thing. And they said it, and then they would talk about it. I was like, man. What is? And then I had to ask, like, what does that really mean? And I tried to like go against it. I was like, nah, man, that's not true, man. Because some of the girls I talked to, they're really good girls. I just It's like, nah, man, you get who you are, and when you really think about it, it's true.
And believe it or not, okay, so the principles that I have, I vetted them very well because I wanted to be able to say something and it stick.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted to have like very little room, if not no room, for people to like take the concept and just tear it apart. I get so much pushback from this phrase, right? So, and
it's
I recently,
natural, 'cause
right. So, and I spoke to a young lady that said, "Help me out. What do you think the problem is? Because I think I got it, but help me out." And then she said the same thing that I was thinking. It's the word "you." You get who you are at the moment you are that thing, and there are some things that happen in people's lives that they don't want to feel that they deserve to happen to them.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I get that, but then when you look at what deserve means, like one of my questions could be, how do you deserve? You're in a relationship with someone, and there's some things about the relationship that you are not good about. How do you deserve all the good, but you don't deserve the bad? That's always a tough question, right? So, because we come as we are, we're all, as again Zoe Williams says, we're all whips, WIP, works in progress, right? And then my wife says, her thing is WTBB. We're all, so I put those two together. We're all works in progress, working to be better.
Okay,
right? So. The thing that, so the person you're in a relationship with is there to show you something about you that you need to work on to be a better version of yourself. So you have to be accountable. The first thing you have to do is say, okay, so, and it's something I had to learn. Like I would have these little things where me and my wife would have these moments and I would like you, and then one day it hit me, no, it's not her, it's me. So then when I stopped trying to get her to do what I thought she was supposed to do and I just started doing it myself, she just naturally gravitated with me because we are a mirrored reflection to one another. So if I just work on me and improve me, and she's my mirror, she's going to naturally work and change as well. And then same thing. So whatever she's working on and improving within herself, it's a reflection to me. And then whatever I'm working on, it's a reflection of her. So if I just focus on being a better person and she focuses on being a better person, we become a better couple.
Right.
So, and that's just how it works.
And the opposite is true. Because
Absolutely.
I was in the relationship I was in. I thought I was adamant. I'm good. I'm not the one that needs to change anything. Right. You need to change. And she's saying the exact same thing.
Right.
No, I'm not doing anything wrong. I don't need to change. You don't need to change. Right. So it's the same thing. It's similar. Yeah. And that's what made me open up to that saying there for sure. Yeah. All righty, you guys have been on the bench. Thank you guys for checking up, and we'll be back next week.
Indeed, we will.
That was good. Pete, we got to get you to come sit in. What is that?